Alright, boys and girls, this is SRT canopy anchor. When doing spar work especially, I do a lot of palm trees, cocoa palms, and been moving to SRT quite a bit lately and looking for different ways for a choking anchor. So some of the methods are basically a knot or a cinching knot, like a running bowline. Carabiner, this is an ANSI gate. You can use that in conjunction with a alpine butterfly or a bowline even. Recent invention is the notch, or Kevin Bingham's quickie. This is a notch version, and this is a method I've been playing around with, which actually seems to work all right, and I want to get some feedback on it, so I'm showing it to the world. So usually when I climb SRT, I'll climb with the butt end of my line, which doesn't have a splice, and I'll leave the splice for the other end. And I'm using an akimbo or a rope runner. So let's go through the basic canopy ties. This is going to be a running bowline. So you get that around your stem, you buck in. Obviously I'm not even going to mention that anymore, but you buck in, you do your bowline, and there you go. Quick, simple, takes 5 seconds to do. The only drawback is you got rope on rope here. If you leave yourself a tail, which you're going to want to do so you can pull it down to you, right? You leave yourself a tail, pull the line, comes down the trunk right back to you, re-cinch, ready for your next cut. Cool. Electric bikes. All right, another way is let's give myself a little more tail here, is a butt fly and a beaner. This is frowned upon in some circles, but if you set your butterfly correctly and you clip it into your line where the line comes through the top and down, there's not very many ways that this thing can rotate and somehow open the gate. And it's the ANSI gate carabiner, so even if it's loaded flat against the stem, I'm pretty happy with that. Haven't had one fail, haven't seen one fail, and it's a lot more bomb proof than your regular carabiner. What this does is gives you a little bit less friction here, so when you do pull on your tail, it slides down to you, and it's got some weight to it, which helps it. When you get it back to yourself, if it's stuck on a little nub or something, you get both lines, give it a little flip, and it'll drop down the stem right back at you. That works great. Another good thing about it is you can unclip it, move it to another stem, like say this one over here. I can just simply move it to the other side and re-cinch like that. All right, basically the same thing with a quickie. Here's a quickie. Right, so you got your quickie. You take your quickie, stick it in your line, stick it in your other line, and smash it shut. A couple things about the quickie is it has the potential to load, like right here where the pin, I don't know if you can see that, is against the tree. You don't really want that, so I just rotate it one way or the other. I try to keep my climb line on the barrel of the quickie if possible, so it doesn't have the potential to push this out. Another thing I don't like about this is, it happened to be before, just taking it out and you're diddling with this thing, and for some reason you accidentally push that button a second time, that pin is gone. So now you're like, mother trucker. So you're sitting there going, well, that's useless. And then you got to stick this in your pocket because you got nowhere to clip it. So, you know, it's a good piece of hardware. It's Bomber. It works well. I'm not a particularly good fan of this. So here's my other idea. And this takes a little bit of setup, but I think it's a pretty good idea. So you take a 6-coil Prusik. This one is a Turfelberger thimble thingy. If you make a 6-coil with this thing, it kind of stays like that, so you don't really do much with it. So what I do with it is I mentally think, am I going to be on the left side when I'm cutting my notches, like say the Spar's leaning, or am I going to be on the right side? That'll tell me which way I want to put my choking anchor. Most of the time I'm going to be on this side, so I can handle the saw this way underneath, right, to get your notch and then your top cut. So what I want to do is have my cinch on this side of my left side of the tree, right? So I take my rope, right, and I'll go, well, let's go underneath. So I'll go underneath through the thimble itself, right, around Mr. Tree, and then my thimble is already kind of pre-made, right? If your line is small enough, you can literally thread that thing right through the 6-coil without any trouble. Alright, now what you got here is a choking anchor with a Prusik. There's another thing you can do, is give yourself a little bit of space. You can take your tail and give yourself one more wrap. You're gonna have to redress this thing a little bit. Thimble, you get one more wrap, so you got a 3 up 4 down thimble Prusik. This will cinch like mad, right? And I do just an 8 on the tail, so it doesn't go nowhere. So now I can adjust the length of my tail. This line doesn't have it, this is a newer line, but I have a mark on my other line where it's 12 feet, so I can slide my Prusik up to that mark, work on the tree, make my cut, come down to the end of my line, right, slack that off, pull my thimble down to me, and come down the stem to my next cut. And there's no cross loading. This is a thimble, it's pretty Bomber. I got them on all my friction savers. They work great. They don't really like to slide very much, so I'm quite confident in this. So I'm working on this tree. I want to make, let's put it right here, right in front of me, right? I want to make my notch. This tree is leaning this way, so I'll scooch that around kind of the top side, right? That way, when I'm working on this side, I can lean against that cinch, make my notch, do my rigging, tie my dealy whacker rings or block or whatever, and it's not in the way. And because there's nothing really there hardware wise, I can get right up to the tree, like right up to the tree. Do my cut, Watch the piece fall. Pull my rope, comes down to me. Yay. Say I want a longer tail, all I got to do is slide you up a little bit, and that's my genius idea. I have played with different rings and stuff. And all you gotta do to take it out is spend a minute or two to undo your 6 coil, or just loosen it up, and a lot of times you can wiggle this thing right out. It is fiddly. It ain't like dirt simple, but see, that 6 coiler stays right there pretty much. Alright, another method is ice tail and a ring open, basically doing the same thing. This one I'll just do it doesn't stay like the other one does, but I'll do a 6 coil. Keep it. What the hell? Get in there. Alright, keep it nice and loose. Slide it off. Go up through. Same thing. Around. And then feed it back through the 6 coil. This ice tail is a little bit longer, so it's easier to do an extra wrap, so to speak, on the bottom side, which helps it grip a little bit better. Set it, do an 8, just so it don't go nowhere, and bam, there you go. And then if you go up through the bottom like I did, when you're in the system, it's oriented nicely. There's a bend. The nice part about the big ring is it's a lot easier to slack your line, especially when you're way down below. Slack your line. I usually grab it before here, because if you grab it under here and you flip it, you're gonna whack yourself in the face with it. And give it a little flippy flip, cinch it, and then snug it up. This works the same as the other one, where you can get it on the top side of the tree, and like literally as close as you can get to the tree, so you can do your work, leaning, do your notch, top cut, piece goes, and give it a tug down to your next cut. Alright, let me know what you think. Undoing it is pretty easy, you know. Undo your stopper, slack off on this guy, and your tail will just wiggle on through. Nothing to it. Let me know what you think. Peace out. Climb safe. And oop, that was a bad idea. Catch you guys later. Bye.